Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Ordinary Wisdom Podcast. This week we have Dr. Howard Murphy with us. He is a professor for specifically what department specifically?
So the School of Public Service and Administration here at Anderson
Mhm.
University in South Carolina, and so I chair Homeland Security and Emergency Management degree programs.
Okay, so pretty cool. Pretty cool. Alrighty, let's get right into it. So we're gonna start with childhood. What would you say is your childhood most fondest memory?
Oh, wow, let's see. A lot of memories. I think that my 11th Christmas, we
Mm-hmm.
got my sister and I both got 10-speed bicycles.
Oh,
That was the
wow.
best Christmas ever.
Yeah.
And so before that, I had 3 bicycles. Now I grew up a missionary kid,
Mm-hmm.
so we did not have a whole lot of money. So my dad would go to the junk piles in the neighborhoods
Mm-hmm.
and find a bike frame, and we'd invest in some tires, and we'd paint the bike frame,
Yeah.
and maybe buy a new seat, maybe not,
Mm-hmm.
and have handlebars. And so my bicycles up until I was 11 years old were definitely hand-me-downs from people I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know.
Yeah.
So to get a Western Flyer
Yeah.
bicycle 10 speed for my 11th Christmas
Mm-hmm.
that was great. My sister loved it. Now there are 2 styles. There's male bike and female bike. And my
Mm-hmm.
sister on Christmas morning got on my bike, and I promptly told her not to get on my bike.
Yeah.
This is her bike. So it was
That's
great.
so funny.
Great
Yeah.
Christmas.
Would you say is there any I mean, of course there's a lot of major differences, but what is one thing that nowadays children grow up and that was super different from when you were growing up?
I still remember 8-track cassettes.
Yeah.
You know, and you probably don't even know what that is, but yeah, I still have an 8-track cassette
Mm-hmm.
player
Wow.
in my attic somewhere. Um,
That's pretty cool.
so yeah, that's the technology has
Mm-hmm.
changed. Now, some is good, some is not so good. Um, I remember every afternoon, certainly
Mm-hmm.
every Sunday afternoon, I was out playing flag football or
Yeah.
tackle football, backyard brawls, all that type of things. A lot more outdoor activity when I was a kid
Yeah.
than I'd seen my daughter and son
Yeah.
active in,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of like the
Yeah.
outdoor activity.
Yeah. 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 I get that.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess what would be like the one thing that you learned the most when you were growing up, or like the most important thing that you learned from your childhood?
Probably the value of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I used to sing it's not a nursery rhyme, but it's kind of a rhyme song. Um, uh, Make new friends, but keep the old.
Oh
One
yeah.
is
One is
silver, but
silver.
the other is
Yeah.
gold. And so I kind of grew up with that and had a lot of friends growing up, and um, my family were my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Loved my parents, still love my parents. They're still alive, 80,
Mm-hmm.
83, almost 84, and
Mm-hmm.
81. But they were great mentors, great friends. Not so much the friend part when I was growing up. Now they're
Yeah.
friends,
Yeah.
but great mentors. And they taught me how to be a man, how to be a follower of Christ, and um, a representative for the kingdom of God, an ambassador for Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I guess now transitioning into like college. Did you go to college right out of high school?
Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to college the long way. I graduated in June 2000, or no, correction, June 1986
Mm-hmm.
from T. L. Hanna High School, home of radio.
Mm.
Wow.
Radio was my buddy. Um,
Wow.
then I went, because I was already National Guard. I joined when I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go to basic training and then
Yeah.
combat medic school. So right after high school graduation, went to basic training, Fort Bliss, Texas, and El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
That was hot.
Yeah.
Then went from there to San Antonio, Texas, to Fort Sam Houston for combat medic school, And so by the time I finished, it was in November.
Mhm.
Those two schools.
Okay.
So it was too late to start my freshman semester.
Yeah.
So I went in January of 1987
Okay.
into Carson Newman, now
Mhm.
university, back then college,
Yeah.
and was a semester behind, but really only 3 academic credits behind. Well, not even that. I was
Mhm.
English 102 behind. I had 15 credit hours from combat medic school and basic training.
Okay.
So the one and only course I took at Anderson College back then
Mm-hmm.
was English 102 in the summer of 1987 to catch up with my year group at Carson Newman.
Mm.
And I did that, had Miss Faye Cowan West as my English 102 professor.
Yeah.
She was great. In fact, we had her funeral 2 weeks ago.
Oh
Mm.
wow.
She became a member of Concord Baptist,
Yeah.
where I'm now a member,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and I was actually assigned to be her deacon.
Mm.
So for her last year of life, I was her deacon,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I also participated in her funeral service. But she was my English 102 professor
Yeah.
Wow.
here at
Wow.
Anderson College.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
That's great. So like, how was, I guess, because you went into the military, so was it a
Mhm.
traditional college experience, or was it sort of weird being in the military?
It was unique. Um, I had a little bit more discipline than most students,
Mm-hmm.
having gone through
Mhm.
military training.
Yeah.
Um, and I was also still in the National Guard, so I had the drill weekends, and then my sophomore year of college, which was really only my second semester of college,
Mm-hmm.
I went into ROTC,
Okay.
and so was a simultaneous membership program cadet. I was in the Tennessee Army National Guard, 278th Armored Cavalry Regiment,
Mhm.
working part time, and then was a cadet with
Yeah.
Carson Newman College
Mhm.
Army ROTC.
Okay.
So I only had, and back then they allowed us to do this. You didn't have to have a college degree to be commissioned.
Okay.
Now you do.
Wow.
Okay.
So I did my junior year of ROTC, my sophomore year of college,
Mhm.
Mm.
and then my junior or senior year of ROTC, my junior year of college. And I was
Mhm.
commissioned after my junior year of college.
Okay.
Wow.
So I was actually running around campus with a second lieutenant rank
Wow.
my senior year of college,
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
which was kind of unique.
Yeah.
And it was one of the last years they allowed soldiers to do that or officers to
Yeah.
do that.
Wow. That's interesting. That's
Mhm.
awesome. How did you like your college experience? Did
Loved
you
it,
enjoy doing that, or?
loved it. Blossomed at Carson
Mhm.
Newman.
Mm-hmm.
So I was definitely a BMOC, big man on campus, and I was much smaller back then than I am
Yeah.
now, of course, as far as girth. But president of Baptist Student Union, now Baptist Collegiate Ministries. It was the
Mm-hmm.
largest BSU, I think, at the time in the country.
Wow.
We sent more summer missionaries, spring break missions teams than any other school in the country. So I
Mm-hmm.
led several of those and
Mhm.
was a participant in summer missions and spring break and fall break missions.
Yeah.
Was on student government, vice president of the student body my senior year,
Mm-hmm.
ROTC, captain of the Ranger team, and
Wow.
it was just a fascinating time. Got to be a resident advisor. Now it was resident
Yeah.
assistant
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
So I was senior RA for 2 years, RA for a year before that,
Mm-hmm.
in a men's dorm with 555 guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the entire football team, baseball team, basketball team. You can imagine the mischief they got
Yeah.
into.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh man.
it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. It
Yeah.
really increased my leadership
Mhm.
abilities
Yeah.
and gave me some. I had great mentors there, some unique insights
Mm-hmm.
into life and what I wanted to do in the future. Um,
Yeah.
so I didn't go the course that I thought I would go.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Started pre-med and psychology, ended up psychology and military science, and that was
Yeah.
fine. And that has worked out well in my career.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
What would you say was the most important thing that you learned in college?
Hmm. Probably leadership,
Yeah.
effective leadership, because I was put into positions within ROTC and within BSU. For example, back then we could get away with it. We had Hurricane Hugo hit the coast of South Carolina in 1989. So South Carolina Baptist did not have a disaster relief operation at the time. So Tennessee Baptist did. And so Carson Newman got a call from Tennessee Baptist Convention, which got a call from South Carolina Baptist Convention asking for help. They needed debris removal teams. So chainsaws and strong backs and strong arms and weak minds. Okay. And so we put together a team of 63 students for fall break of 1989. I was already a second lieutenant in the Army National Guard. So I guess the leadership of the university thought I had the skills to lead the team. We did not have an adult supervision.
Wow.
We were allowed to drive 3 Carson Newman 15 passenger vans as students. I drove my minivan, so I led the convoy. And we made the trek down from East Tennessee at Jefferson City, Tennessee, down to Sumter, and did debris removal for a week, partnering with South Carolina Baptist Convention. And so fortunately, God protected us. No injuries, lots of chainsaws, lots of debris, but no injuries. With a bunch of college students. Church opened up a vacant house that was near the church, and we showered in the church and we slept in the house, and it was a fun time. So we learned a lot about leadership. I learned a lot about leadership. And serving in that type of environment. And I've been in disaster management, emergency management since October 1989, because that was my first experience in disaster management. So that's what really launched this part of my career, was that operation.
Okay, so after college, just give us, what did you do? Like, start from then on and just keep going.
So let me go back to November of 1989. I was driving from Carson Newman to my National Guard unit in Knoxville, Tennessee. I had the radio on and heard over the radio that the Berlin Wall had fallen. And I pulled over on I-40 because I could not drive and cry as hard as I cried that day. And it wasn't tears of sadness. I was a Cold War warrior. We were at war against the Soviet Union. It was tears of joy. And I remember praying along that highway, God, I don't care where I go, send me. I want to go into the Soviet Union. So forward to March, actually January of 1990. And I was to graduate in May. And so Tennessee Baptist Convention got a call from the Foreign Mission Board back then of the Southern Baptist Convention to put together a team of 10 students and 2 chaperones to go into Leningrad, Russia, USSR, which is now St. Petersburg, and was before the Bolshevik Revolution. So they were looking for students who had construction experience, and I'd had some because I helped start Appalachian Outreach, which was, we worked with the poorest of the poor in Appalachia. Did a lot of home reconstruction, refurbishment, so that people could live there and be somewhat comfortable, at least safe. And so I had that experience. And so I was asked by our director of campus ministries, hey, apply. I said, okay. Didn't have the money. Had no idea where I was going to get the money. I knew graduation was coming up, so maybe I'd get enough gifts to fund this trip, which was not going to be cheap. And so March 1990, I'm leading another mission team from Carson Newman, from Baptist Student Union, to Myrtle Beach. We're still doing disaster recovery from Hurricane Hugo. So we were doing that. We were also working on beach ministry with witnessing and evangelism. And so I get a call
Yeah.
through First Baptist Church of Myrtle Beach that I'd been selected for the team.
Wow.
And I still have one of my team members took a picture of me. We were doing some clowning ministry. So I had this big red clown nose on, these big clown glasses on, in my blue jeans, my work t-shirt, and I'm doing this, heroic pose. And David Green was the one who took that picture. He blew that up into a poster size, and then everyone on the team signed the back of it with encouragement. And so I still have that at home. It's framed in my office.
Wow.
And so right after graduation, I went to the USSR for 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
And rebuilt a church in downtown Leningrad. Was part of a 12-person team. We were the first official, the first mission team, Christian mission team, officially allowed inside the USSR since the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917.
Wow.
And then there were 3 other teams of students and chaperones who came after us, but Tennessee was number 1. And so we started working on the Temple of the Gospel in downtown Leningrad near Nevsky Prospect, which is the main drag there. And the church, Temple of the Gospel, had been granted the building by the government in Leningrad. Everything was socialism, strict socialism, so there was no private property. So the church building was in terrible shape. It had been a church, part of the Russian Orthodox church, or
Eastern Orthodox.
Yeah, it was an old believer sect. But the church was actually built in 1902, or finished in 1902. But since the Bolshevik Revolution, they had used it as a warehouse, a manufacturing facility, then again as a warehouse. I think it had been hit several times by World War II bombings. It was in terrible shape. So Sergei Nikolaev, who was the pastor of the church, kept pleading with the government to grant him a building where this big congregation that was amassing in his apartment and then in parks. He definitely outgrew that church, outgrew that where they were meeting. They needed a building. And so he promised the government there, if you grant us a building, we'll restore it, because St. Petersburg, Leningrad at the time, was the tourist center of the Soviet Union. So, and he also said, we will take your bums off the street, your alcoholics. We'll get them in treatment, work with them, put them to work. We'll take the homeless off the streets. And so the government said, well, we could restore a building near downtown Leningrad to make it look decent again, and get the bums off the streets. And the Soviet Union, I learned this while I was there. The communist leaders, if they wanted a job done, like a summer house built or a summer cottage built in the countryside, they didn't hire a communist to do it. They hired a Christian. Because they knew they could trust the Christians to do what they said they would do. They would not come to work drunk or drink on the job or spend all their time smoking really bad cigarettes. They would do it on the right schedule and not charge any more than they said they would charge. And so there are many things that led to the dissolution of the Soviet Union, but that was one of them. Is the influence of being Christians, being actual followers of Christ and living a Christ-like life in that society. And so we went in. That was the first thing I did after graduation. Got enough money, had this last second gift. I know who it was now, but she doesn't know I know who it is. But a dear lady and her husband, who's now deceased, gave me $500 anonymously. And that was exactly what I needed, exactly when I needed it to pay for the airfare. So thank you, Miss Porter. I know who you are. So it was a great opportunity. It was one of the highlights of my Christian walk.
Yeah.
And so went from Soviet Union back to the U.S. and then went to Armor Officer Basic Course at Fort Knox, Kentucky. Learned how to be an armor and cavalry officer in the Army. Still National Guard. So went back to being National Guard. Came back to South Carolina for about a month, and then went to Southern Baptist Theological Seminary to begin my seminary education in Louisville, Kentucky. And went into pastoral care and counseling. Had every intention of being a Christian counselor and possibly professor one day.
Yeah.
But that didn't work for long. In June of 1992, I got deployed for 6 months, and that plan fell to the side.
Yeah.
So I came back here to Anderson and ended up being the chief administrative officer of Medshore Ambulance Service, which it was Anderson Ambulance Service back then, but it was the largest private ambulance service, still is, in South Carolina. And so I served as chief operations officer, chief financial officer, and director of development for the ambulance service for 2.5 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fun times.
Yeah. So I guess I know there are a couple ROTC students here at Anderson. What advice would you give to people looking into ROTC and just the military in general?
It was a great way for me to become the person I am today. And, I started off enlisted. I was at E1, which is the lowest possible rank you could be in the military.
Yep.
Okay. 17-year-old E1 combat medic. Made it to E5, which is a sergeant, which is great. Did that in 2 years.
Wow.
And then 3 days after I pinned on E5, I contracted with ROTC and really ticked off my commander. So, because he had just pinned them on, went to battle for me to get the E5 stripes.
Yeah.
And so, but it ended up working out. My dad was not in favor of me going ROTC. One of the reasons I went Army National Guard was to help my parents put me through college.
Yeah.
And so I did that and was doing that. And the opportunity came about for me to go into ROTC. Talked with my parents about it. Dad said, look, just get your 6 years in and get out. Meet your obligation and get out.
Yeah.
Because he had grown up during the Vietnam era. He was an instructor, sociology instructor at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. All the riots, he saw all of that, knew the dark side of what had happened.
Yeah.
And so he did not want me to further risk my life and my career by becoming an officer in the Army. And so I did what every loving son would do and said, thank you, Dad. And I joined anyway. And he has come to appreciate what I did and thinks it was a good decision on my part.
Yeah.
And 30 years of being an officer later, it has worked out for my career. And what's really been beneficial, because most of my time as an officer, 30 years of being an officer, I was in command. So 25 years, I was in command of some type of unit. And then special units along the way as well. And so 8.5 years of active, all total in 30 years. Most of my time as an officer were National Guard or Reserve. And so I did a stair step in my career. My military career and schooling, education led to steps in my civilian career, a step up. My step up in my civilian career led to other opportunities in my military career. And it just kept moving upwards. And so God worked that out in my life. I think he works it out in other people's lives. So I am a strong proponent of, if you're called to that mission, that lifestyle, and it is a lifestyle, and it is a calling, go for it. And so we do have at Anderson University a partnership, a cross-town partnership with Clemson University ROTC, Army and Air Force. That's all they have at Clemson. So we do have 6 Army ROTC cadets and 1 Air Force ROTC cadet in our ranks here among the students at Anderson University. So I get to work with them and also with Clemson University, help them on the administrative side, getting everything together, and also working with the administration of Anderson University to make the lives of our ROTC cadets a little easier. Because I tell ROTC cadets coming into the program, this is kind of like being a student athlete. You're going to be dedicating as much time and effort as an ROTC cadet as you would if you were on the football team, lacrosse team, basketball team, soccer team, whatever. Because they have to go to Clemson early in the morning for physical training, which is 6 o'clock. For Army, it's 6 o'clock a.m. on Tuesday, Thursday. Then they have a Thursday afternoon lab at 3:30 p.m. And then they also have a class somewhere that week, either 1 or 2, usually an hour and a half to 3 hours, 1 to 2 days a week. And so it's a big commitment just to find parking at Clemson. 6 o'clock in the morning, no problem. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, problem. Okay? So, and Air Force ROTC have their physical training on Monday and Wednesday mornings at 6 a.m. So, it's a commitment, but it's doable. And we have some outstanding cadets. We've got cadets with 4.0 GPAs, double majoring. They're just very dedicated, very disciplined, and that's what it takes. Is that type of discipline and stick-to-itness to get through the programs.
I guess we're probably all wondering, through your extensive military career, what is your craziest military story?
Oh, man.
At least that you can tell us.
Craziest as far as, there have been crazy incidents. Craziest as far as how God works. It was November 2013. I was the G2, G3 for 3rd Medical Command. So for the general staff, the operations and intelligence officer. About to deploy in January to Kuwait for 11 months. I'm able to get along with anybody, okay? But there are toxic leaders in the military. And I had one as a commander. And we got along fine, but I knew this mission was going to be extremely difficult. And so I was at a prayer breakfast, did it every Thursday morning at 7:30 at the Corner Bagel Shop here in Anderson. And was with this group of men, and I was just trying to think of an honorable way to find another course of action. I was willing to go to Kuwait, serve as kind of leading medical operations in the Middle East for the U.S. Department of Defense, but I really wanted an honorable option out. And so we took prayer requests, and I said, guys, I'm struggling with something, can't really talk about it, but I'm looking for an honorable option. And so we started praying, and my phone started buzzing. I had it on stun, vibrate. And so we finished praying. I looked at my phone, and it was a text message from a general who I had worked with 3 times before. He was one of my mentors. And the text message read, "Call me." And I looked at the guys and said, I think my prayer has just been answered. Because last time I got a text message that said, "Call me," I was deployed with his unit. And he was a major general, 2-star at the time. And I'd worked for him when he was a colonel and a brigadier general twice. And now he's a major general. He had his own command. And so I went to my car, gave him a call on the cell phone in quiet. And he said, "What are you doing? What are you up to?" I said, "Well, sir, I'm about to deploy to Kuwait for 11 months in January." This was mid-November. He said, "So what position?" I said, "G2, G3, 3rd Medcom." He said, "Can anybody else do that job?" I said, "Well, sir, you know nobody's irreplaceable. Sure, somebody else could do the job." He said, "Well, maybe." I said, "What's on your mind?" He said, "Well, I'm sitting across the desk from the commander of U.S. Strategic Command, who was a 4-star admiral." He said, "We have gone through all the dossiers, the personnel records of all of our 06s, talking Navy captains and Army, Air Force, and Marine Corps colonels. And you're the only one who has background with chemical and biological counterproliferation, non-proliferation, and consequence management.
Yeah.
And we have a special mission that we are looking for that type of expertise for." And Admiral Cheney came on and said, "Colonel Murphy, what I need is someone to provide adult supervision for this mission." I said, "Well, what mission is it, sir?" He said, "Well, I want you to get to a secure telephone unit as soon as you can, and we'll have a longer discussion about that. But it involves chemicals, and it involves a ship, and it involves the Middle East." I said, "Okay." I said, "So you've just told me, Admiral, that I'm your number one pick, and you expect me to say anything but yes?" So I said yes. I said, "But there's this little matter of getting me out of the other operation that I was slated to go on." He said, "Well, we'll call your 2-star, your major general, and have a conversation." And so he did. And so in December, I deployed, was mobilized up to Fort Belvoir, Virginia, Northern Virginia, and then was sent over to Naples, Italy, with Naval Forces Europe and Africa, and then spent time bouncing all over the region, but oversaw the Syrian chemical weapons demilitarization for NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
That's actually so cool.
Working with Russian authorities, Chinese authorities, Syrian authorities, UN authorities, EUCOM, European Command, the 4-star Air Force general had operational. Well, he had operational control operational control of the mission out of Stuttgart, Germany, and then the NAVUR commanding admiral, 4-star, had tactical control. So I reported to both of them and an agency back in the U.S. For that mission, and we got it done record time. Took a long time to get the chemical weapons. We were also having to deal with ISIS and the rebels and Al Qaeda, safeguarding those materials, chemical weapons. You don't want to lose those, especially to terrorist organizations. So that took a lot of our time and effort, and that had some interesting stories with it. But we got them to the port of Latakia, which was a Russian port there in Syria. We had transload operations from the ground to the ships. We took priority 2 precursors and put them on 2 different vessels and sailed them to Germany and to UK for destruction of the materials. Then we had another ship that transported priority 1 chemicals, including chemical weapons, materials, mustard agent, and sarin nerve agent primarily, and the priority 1 precursors for those agents. And then we took that ship to Giotoro, Italy, and transloaded onto motor vessel Cape Ray, which was a roll-on, roll-off cargo ship in the U.S. arsenal. And we had 2 field deployable hydrolysis systems within the main trailer deck of the motor vessel Cape Ray, MV Cape Ray. We loaded the chemical agents on the upper trailer decks, had effluent containers to catch the residue from the demilitarization on the lower trailer decks, and then the main operation was on the main trailer deck. So we destroyed 630,000 kilograms of chemical agent within about 60 days, which is a world record. And it's the first time it's ever been done that way. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
And that was my last active duty assignment. So weird way God worked in that. It was exactly what I'd been prepared for all of my military career to do. And so, and there are other stories like I remember in 2005, I was in Edgewood area, Aberdeen Proving Ground, was in a major exercise, was a reach back cell lead for subject matter expert for the ground forces. They would call back, I would give them information. So I was in a very sensitive SCIF, secure compartmented information facility. And I got a briefing from my operations officer. It was marked secret. And it was this Northern Command unit called a CSMRF, Chemical, Biological, Radiological, Nuclear, Explosive Consequence Management Response Force. So the acronym CSMRF. And they had these units laid out and no unit identifiers on them. It was just a concept of operations. And so I was reading through and I came to the CBRNE, Saberni, Incident Response Force, which was a battalion plus brigade minus sized unit, about 2,000 people. And I looked at the missions: technical rescue, hazardous materials reconnaissance, emergency medical treatment, mass casualty decontamination. And it was in support of Homeland Defense and defense support of civil authorities. And so I'm looking at this unit composition, and I said, I remember praying, God, that is the battalion I want to command. I was a major at the time, senior major. My boss, who was the same general who called me, texted me, kept pushing me, get a battalion command, get a battalion command. And so I kept delaying. I loved the unit I was part of. It was a special response unit, working with some really elite organizations, and I was part of an elite organization. And so I looked at that and said, God, I don't care where it is. I'll go to Alaska, California. I'll go to Germany. I don't care where that unit is. That is the unit I want to command. Because I'd been a paramedic, still am, been a firefighter, been a hazmat specialist, technical rescue. So that was my life. And then also in the medical services and chemical and intelligence in the military. And so that seemed to be the perfect unit. So that was 2005. So I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, in the 415th Chemical Brigade, run by a one-star, who was the same general. He just moved from that unit where I was in Maryland to Greenville and became a one-star brigadier general. And so I am his Homeland Defense officer and planning these major exercises and major operations in support of Northern Command. And so this is 2008. Our S3 operations officer for the brigade comes into my office and said, Murph, you know a lot about chemicals, right? I said, well, I've been around it a little while. He said, okay, you need to take the chemical officer qualification course, advanced course. I said, OJ, I'm a medical services guy. I'm not going to command a chemical battalion. He said, well, you need to do it. So I did it. I finished it in about 6 months. And then the Colonel Bojay Estes comes to my office again and says, Murph, you need to put in for 457th Chemical Battalion. I said, Bojay, I'm medical services. They don't do that. They don't take medical services officers and put them in charge of chemical units.
Yeah.
He said, well, give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I applied for the board for battalion command,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up that I was number one on the Order of Merit list. And by rule, if you are the first officer selected, and you are the highest ranking as far as score,
Yeah.
you get your choice of unit.
Wow.
And I'd put 457th Chemical Battalion as my first choice.
Yeah.
So the board, members of the board, pushed back and said, "Well, that's medical services can't command a chemical unit."
Yeah.
Well, the deputy commander of the 415th Chemical Brigade, I learned, was on the board,
Mm-hmm.
and he pushed back and said he was number one on Order of Merit. He put 457th Chemical Battalion on his first choice, and he is chemical qualified.
Yeah.
And so I got 457th Chemical Battalion.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So I'm sitting in my office. Now, my office in 415th Chemical Brigade is over here, Homeland Defense Cell.
Mm-hmm.
Down the hallway, 120 feet, is the 457th Chemical Battalion's headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I could look out my door and see the commander of 457th Chemical Battalion's office.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just been selected. This was early 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Our Lieutenant Nieves, who is my operations officer, comes into my office, puts down that same classified briefing that I saw
Yeah.
4 years earlier onto my desk
Oh.
and says, "Sir, you've got to see this."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Susan, what?" She said, "Look at it now." It was still marked classified.
Mm-hmm.
It's all unclassified at this point, so I can talk about it. So I recognized it was the same briefing I saw 4 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So I panned through the pages and I look at the organizational chart, and now the units are identified. And so I go to the CERF, CBR&E Incident Response Force, and on the headquarters of CBR&E Incident Response Force is 457th Chemical Battalion.
Mm-hmm.
I broke down.
Wow.
I was willing to go anywhere in the world to command that unit. All I had to do was walk 120 feet down the hallway.
Mm.
That's how God works.
That is insane.
So for 3 years, I was commander of that unit. We built that unit really from scratch, converted it from being a smoke battalion,
Mm-hmm.
obscurance on the battlefield so the enemy can't see the friendly movements. So converted it from being a smoke battalion to the Army's first CBR&E Incident Response Force in 9 months.
Wow.
Had a great team. Great team.
Wow.
Wow. That's awesome.
What would you say, like, which base was your favorite to live on?
There have been some good ones. It's kind of a toss-up between Fort Sam Houston
Mm-hmm.
in San Antonio and Fort Belvoir in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go with Fort Sam Houston
Okay.
because they had some great festivals downtown,
Yeah.
all kinds of ethnic groups there. So I remember going to the park and there was like 110 different ethnic groups
Mm-hmm.
with the food, with the music. So I would get some good German food and then go over to the Irish and listen to the Celtic bands
Mm-hmm.
and watch the dancers, the Irish dance. And very fond memories
Mm-hmm.
of being an officer at Fort Sam Houston. That was a lot of fun.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. What would you say in your life, like, besides God, is like one of your most important relationships that you have?
Well, family.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm married. We'll have been married 30 years in November.
Mm-hmm.
So next month. Then kids. So got Jack, who's 21, and he's a senior here at AU. Will graduate in December. And then Natalie is 15, and she's a sophomore at Teohana. And so that's really where I spend most of my free time is with them. with my parents who are still living. They're 1 hour down the road, so they're having some mobility issues and getting up in age. And so spend a good bit of time taking care of the yard there and helping out with various things. So yeah, family definitely comes right after.
Yeah.
And then my team here, this is another family. So we have a very small school here as far as faculty, full-time faculty. The dean is great. I mean, people ask me how I'm doing. I say I'm living the dream. And you're living the dream. If you love what you do, you love who you serve, and you love with whom you serve, you're not working. You're living the dream.
Yeah.
Okay. You are expending effort. I mean, when my head hits the pillow, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm tired. But I get up in the morning and I love going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's what I wish for every single one of you.
Yeah.
Every single one of you, that you'll be able to say, I'm living the dream and really mean it.
Yeah.
I guess just to wrap up here, at the end of every episode, we like to ask what your piece of wisdom for the week is to all of our listeners. So, what is your weekly wisdom?
So I'll go back to my childhood, to sixth grade. So my dad was a Boy Scout district executive in Middle Georgia. When he and my mom realized that both of them had been called to the mission field when they were teenagers, but they had not communicated that with each other, and they had not yielded to that calling. And so they had a conversation and realized we both were called as teenagers. And so they applied to be home missionaries, now North American Mission, with the Home Mission Board, now North American Mission Board of the Southern Baptist Convention.
Yeah.
And they were accepted for appointment. And so they were willing to go anywhere in the country, in North America, because that also encompasses Canada.
Yeah.
And so they met with Larry Bryson, who's now passed and gone to his heavenly reward. But they met with Larry Bryson, who was their assignment officer, if you will.
Yeah.
And he said, we see that you both grew up in Greenwood, South Carolina. We've got a church and community ministries position. It was known as Christian Social Ministries. We've got a position open at Saluda Baptist Association in Anderson, South Carolina. Was that an hour from your hometown? And they looked at each other and said, yeah. He said, would you be willing to serve in Anderson?
Yeah.
They were willing to go to California, Alaska,
Yeah.
anywhere in Canada, whatever God led them to. But they ended up going home.
Yeah.
And so we moved to Anderson March 19th, 1979. I was in fifth grade, so that was a tough transition for me. I was into everything, athletics and church and all that, down in One Robbins, Georgia, and near Robbins Air Force Base, which you're probably familiar with. And then, so at that point, I was a missionary kid. And I have a heart for missionary kids and pastors' kids, preachers' kids. Most of us, having grown up in that environment, feel like we're living in a fishbowl where all the world is looking in on us. And we don't want to let our parents down, number one.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't want to let God down, and maybe that should be number one. But I wanted to be the best Christian, Christ follower, best, at the time, children's group member at the church, best student, best athlete, best person I could be.
Yeah.
And that led to a significant amount of stress, to the point where I had an incident where I was accused of doing something I still don't believe I did. It was really petty, making noise in the hallway as we were walking from lunch to the classroom. But my sixth grade teacher came to my desk, and I was number one in her class, teacher's pet.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I heard you making noises in the hallway. I'm very disappointed in you. And I crashed.
Mm-hmm.
I ran home. I shut the door, locked the door. I nearly had a nervous breakdown
Mm.
because my world just crashed in.
Mm-hmm.
I had failed.
Mm.
Um, and so my parents were very loving, very nurturing parents. They were disciplinarians, but they said, Howard, just do your best.
Mm-hmm.
Don't kill yourself over this. I didn't use those terms, but that's what they meant.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm.
what I was really contemplating doing in sixth grade. Just do your best. Well, I had a problem with that. What is my best?
Mm-hmm.
So I remember Concord Baptist Church, which is where I grew up, and I'm back there now. It was in December, early December. We had a Christmas cantata, and I remember sitting in the church pew.
Mm-hmm.
We had these blue meal reservation cards, so you signed
Mhm.
your name, but just check that you were going to be at the Wednesday night dinner,
Yeah.
and put that in the offering plate so the church office could get a count of how many meals to prepare. So I took one of those out of the church pew and started writing. And this is what I wrote. Your best effort is attained when the effort put forth meets potential with which you are equipped for a particular task according to the prioritization of needs and activities. That is your best. So where effort meets potential meets priority,
Mm-hmm.
in that snapshot in time, that is your best effort. Now, effort some days decreases. You may be exhausted, you may be sick, so your effort is down here. Some days it's more up here. Priorities should be pretty much the same: God, family, country, whatever your
Yeah.
overarching priorities are. But then there are also priorities of the day. So if I got a call from the White House right now, I'd probably have to take that call.
Yeah.
So priorities change. And then potential needs to always increase, especially for those tasks that we are training to do for the rest of our lives, or at least careers, which is why we're here at Anderson University.
Yeah.
And so, but where those three meet, effort, potential, and priority, that is your best.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped for a little while. And then I got to thinking, why?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I do my best?
Mm-hmm.
What is driving me to do my best? What's the reason? And so, 9, 10 months after that Christmas cantata, I guess it was in fall of the next year, I was reading through 1 Corinthians 13
Mm-hmm.
in my devotions, and the love chapter. Everybody who's been to a wedding probably has heard it. Love is patient, love is kind,
Mm-hmm.
does not boast, does not envy, all that. And then the last sentence: these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's it. That is why I do my best.
Mm-hmm.
That is why I'm supposed to do my best. Now, for the Christian, all is in vain without Christ. That's our thought process.
Yeah.
So I could put Christ there in place of love, but God is love, so really, technically, love.
Mm-hmm.
So I built a baseline, or drew a line under that prism that I built: effort, priority, potential, and I put a baseline down under it: love. So if you love what you do, or you love who you serve, or you love with whom you serve, you can get through anything.
Mm-hmm.
The toughest days and the toughest environments, Afghanistan, Iraq, Anderson, whatever, you can get through it.
Yeah.
That love is going to drive you,
Mm-hmm.
motivate you to get through that situation.
Yeah.
But if you love what you do, and you love who you serve, and you love with whom you serve, you're not working. You're living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So have love as your baseline. If you don't love what you do, you don't love who you serve, you don't love with whom you serve, you need to find something else to do,
Yeah.
because that is not the situation to be in for a long-term situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna, you're not look, you're no longer growing at that point. You're dying. And so the longer we live, the more we need to continue to grow. Because if you're not learning, then you're not growing, and you may stand as tall as the tallest tree in the forest, but you're as dead as a locust shell if you're no longer putting on growth rings.
Mm.
So love what you do, love who you serve, and love with whom you serve.
Yeah.
That should be our goal.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure having you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it,
Thank
Landon.
you.
Thank you, Caroline.
It's been great for all the wisdom that you've been able to share. We hope that all of our viewers are able to share in that as well.
Thanks. It's been an honor.
We hope that you have a good rest of your week.
Thank you.
And we hope that you can continue to love what you do, love who you serve with, and love who you serve.
I fully intend to.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.